Good afternoon and welcome to Live Impact News right here on 13 News Now Plus. It is 1 o'clock p.m. Right as I looked at the clock to say that, the time turned to 1:01 p.m. But it remains January 14th of 2026. It's a Wednesday. The weekend is in sights, but we got a lot of work to do before we get there. And nobody makes it easier to navigate the work of the day than the People's producer, Nia Campbell. Nia, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing even better since I saw that Hunter Force gave you a round of applause upon your introduction. The flowers that the People's producer, Nia Campbell, absolutely deserves. And I wonder if Hunter did that out of the goodness of his heart and out of admiration for your work, or because he wanted to make his presence known here in the Live Impact News studio. Meteorologist Hunter Force in the house, coming in with a lot of energy today.
Whoa, I didn't even know I was on camera when I was giving her an
Sure.
applause.
Right. So
Uh,
performative.
Is right. He's always looking to sneak in and steal our shine. Hunter, what you came in with energy today. Why? Tell us what just happened in the studio.
I just met Blackstreet.
Okay, and they are the performers of the song
No Diggity.
And they
which
were
just
here.
reached 1 billion streams on Spotify.
1 billion streams for No Diggity on Spotify. Well deserved. That is a classic. Can you sing a little bit for us? I don't think that's how it goes.
No diggity, gotta bag it up.
And we are here, people. It is Wednesday.
Diggity.
We have arrived. But what we really need to focus on is tomorrow, because there has been talk that there might be a wintry mix coming our way. Hunter, what's the progress of the precipitation?
Those chances have gone pretty down.
Okay, that's probably a good thing for our area,
All
right?
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. We told you it'd be short and sweet. Not that short and sweet. Now, they've gone down, but they're not completely gone.
There's about maybe a 20% chance.
Okay.
Especially off towards the north around the eastern shore.
Okay.
Could see a snowflake or two tomorrow morning. That's really about it. Those chances really have gone down over the last day or so.
And does that mean it will just be rain or no precipitation at all?
I think like the eastern shore could see, a wet snowflake or two, maybe a little bit of rain, but not looking like anything like we can't handle.
Nothing we can't handle.
Nothing we can't handle.
Okay, that is good news. That is what we've been tracking all week this week. That potential on Thursday and Friday seems like things have cleared up. What else do we need to know?
Today's the last cool or warm day, quote unquote, because we're in the mid to upper 50s out there. It is cloudy. A chance for a few showers this afternoon. Rain showers, that is. Well, of course, it is 57 here in Norfolk. 56 in Virginia Beach. 50 down in Newport News. 55 in Suffolk, Elizabeth City, and Chesapeake. A couple degrees warmer compared to this time yesterday. And we'll stay in the mid to upper 50s for most of us. Again, a chance for an isolated shower or two. And if you're heading out this evening, we'll be in the upper 40s. Cloudier skies. That sunset, 5:11. It's getting later and later.
I made it out to our parking lot in time for the sunset yesterday. It was spectacular. Kind of a low level of pink clouds that were just knifing through the southern sky. It was amazing.
I did recently notice for the 6 p.m. Newscasts that I do on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 6 p.m., tune in.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug.
That when we do the sky cams now, we can get a close glimpse of a sunset.
Okay, good to know.
Because they're getting later.
They're getting later, and that is what we like to see.
So
because
now I don't just have to show a dark camera.
No, you're actually getting a little bit of that beauticious sun
something
and
pretty.
that's because we are getting a little closer to spring. We're getting a little closer to summer. We got a little taste of it over the last 8 days or so. But are we getting into some like consistent cold here before we do all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Friday morning, gonna be feeling like the teens. Yeah, unfortunately. And it's gonna stay pretty cold the next couple of days. Tomorrow we'll be in the upper 30s to low 40s. Same on Friday. But satellite and radar right now, it is cloudy here. We're seeing some of those showers starting to move into the region, but they're light, nothing wild. But we'll see a few showers this afternoon. And then those push out by about 5, 6 o'clock. And if you have any evening plans, we're looking good. And then it's just chilly heading into Thursday morning. We're in the mid to upper 30s. And we stay that way through the afternoon, 39 degrees at 2 o'clock. And then we drop into the low 30s, clear skies Thursday evening. And then Friday morning, air temperatures in the mid-20s, but it will be a bit breezy. So you factor in the breeze, the wind chills are in the mid to upper teens, 15, 16, 17 degrees by 8 o'clock. So you're not just walking out to your car, you're power walking. You know, you're not enjoying the 17-degree feels like temperatures. You're bolting.
You
to your
get
car.
into your car and you kind of just shake for a little bit
Yeah.
to try to warm up.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do the overhead cam again and Naya show us what you did when he said the words power walking? Get one. See, that's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. Just one of those right to the car. Get the heat on. You'll be good before you know it.
No one's really like strolling in that weather.
No, not enjoying the time outside.
No, you have a little more pep in your step.
Maybe even one of those where it's sort of what comes in between power walking and jogging. One of those kind of, it's almost a waddle.
I'm actually bolting. I'm
You're
actually
bolting.
full on sprint.
A full sprint to your car.
Whenever I go outside, it feels like 15.
So if you are out and about in Norfolk and you see someone
You can
just
see me in a
sprinting through
suit
the
and
parking
tie.
lot, that would be Hunter
Yeah.
Forrest getting his way in the suit and tie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so going to be a very cold weekend, but the precipitation won't be as bad as we thought. What else are we looking at here?
Well, then we have Sunday, where we have another snow potential in the forecast.
we just finished up with the original snow potential. Now we've got another snow potential.
We do.
How likely is this one?
This one looks a little bit more likely,
Okay.
but this is Sunday, so we have a couple days for things to change, like how it did with Thursday. But both the GFS and the European model hinting we could see some snow moving in Sunday afternoon into the evening. GFS is a little bit more aggressive with this storm. The Euro, not as aggressive, and the Euro is a little bit more reliable with these types of scenarios. So still something to watch over the next couple of days, but nothing to, get nervous about. We'll keep you updated here. But other than that, that's really about it. Cold. Today nice.
Today, very nice.
With a few showers.
Yeah.
57, 53, 58, 52 in Cape Charles.
A little colder as we work
cooler.
our way up north. Okay.
55 in Hampton, mid to upper 50s. Kill Devil Hills, Hertford, Edenton. And tonight is going to be warm. Well, for January standards. Upper 30s to low 40s. 40 in Cape Charles, 39 in Pocosin and Matthews, 35 in Ahoskie, 44. Kill Devil Hills. And for the next couple of days, again, a possible flurry tomorrow morning. That's really about it. Okay, 50 on Saturday. Let's celebrate that.
Okay. Okay. Positive vibes for the 50 on Saturday. That's where we are now. If we see 50 degrees, we start to get excited.
Right.
Because we are right smack dab in the middle of winter. Okay, so you've got 50 on Saturday. Everyone can maybe try to enjoy that to their best possible ability. A little bit of snow Sunday, and then it stays frigid in the beginning next week.
Right, correct.
Okay.
We are actually in the coldest part of the year.
Right now.
You may have seen my nugget recently.
Of course. I never miss a Hunter Forrest weather nugget.
What was your favorite part?
Niall, what is he talking about? I don't. No, do tell. I haven't seen it yet. I definitely will, but give us a
Wow.
sneak peek here right now.
It's just talking about how we're entering the coldest time of the year on average. I could bring up a quick little if we have time.
Yes, of course. Listen, the time is all yours. We know that you have had a long morning of forecasting. We appreciate you taking a little extra time to hang with us. So if you want to dive into some nuggets, we're here for it.
Let me just...
Okay, while you search, I will once again reemphasize, Nia Campbell, is this still music to your ears? When we were working our way into the cold temperatures, you were thrilled about the fashion options and sort of the snuggly vibes that come with that. Or do you still feel that way, or are you ready for the cold to be gone?
I still feel that way. I feel like it's on par for January.
Okay.
I feel like it needs to be cold.
You want every month to shine as it was meant to do.
And I need it to snow on Tuesday.
You
On
need it to
Tuesday.
snow on Tuesday. Why
What's
do you
Tuesday?
need?
Because then I win the snow competition.
Okay. Fair enough.
Interesting.
And you share the prize with myself and Hunter.
Sure.
All right.
Oh.
There is
I
no
love...
prize.
Oh. Lame.
I know. It's a contest with no prize. What
I
are we
thought
doing
you
here?
got an extra week of PTO.
I did not hear that. Is that Naya, were we not told something? Because I would have focused a lot harder on that guess if I knew that was the case. Okay, we have our weather nugget up and ready to go.
Well, it's just a graphic. It's not
just
like
a graphic. Good, fair enough.
But my weather nugget was talking about how we're entering the coldest stretch of the year in terms of our average high. It's 50 degrees starting yesterday until the 24th. Okay. So that's the coldest average high of the entire calendar.
Okay.
And in this stretch, we've seen temperatures as low as -3 degrees, 3 below zero, which is the coldest temperature ever recorded in Norfolk. But we've also seen highs in the mid to upper 70s. So you can get a lot of twists and turns during this time of the year. Most snow we've ever seen was pushing 10 inches, but that was all the way back in the late 1800s.
Okay.
So, it's been a minute.
Hey,
stretch.
Still counts.
Still counts.
Fantastic nugget, and we still have a long way to go here. 10 more days of the coldest stretch of the year.
Right.
And then we can start truly working on a warm-up. Okay, fascinating weather nugget. Thank you, Hunter. A great forecast. Any last tidbits that you need to add before we let you out of here?
Have a great day.
Okay, give us a little more no diggity. A little more no diggity before you go.
Oh, wait.
Just the hum. Just the hum.
I like the way you work it.
Or the whole
no
thing.
Diggity. Got a backing up.
Wow, I thought somebody turned on a stereo in here for a
They
second.
actually might ask me to join them on stage one time.
All right.
Because I was singing that during the interview.
We eagerly await
and they
that
were
moment.
like, whoa.
Wow,
that was so good.
Hunter Force, a pleasure as always. We look forward to seeing you on stage at a concert near you, where you can hear the same sweet vocal stylings that you just heard here on Live Impact News.
Absolutely.
Hunter Force, hopefully we'll see you later in the week, and hopefully we get snow so that Naya wins her competition, but also thankfully no major snow on Thursday and Friday of this week. Okay, well, let's reconvene here, Anaya. Let's figure some things out. We've got 3 live events going on right now, all of which deserve our attention. Number one, we do have the SpaceX rocket launch from Florida this week. That is happening as we speak. It's just an interesting visual. A rocket from Cape Canaveral, Florida, appears to have lifted off based on what we can see up there on our screen. We've got the sky view up here. You guys can see the board where I'm kind of monitoring all of this. There's the launch. So it's a cool visual. It's a cool thing. It's something that we wanted to touch on. The Falcon 9 rocket carrying 29 Starlink internet satellites up into low Earth orbit. So that is happening right now. We also have 2 press conferences happening right now. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is talking about affordable childhood education. It appears as though he is done with his comments. That is at the top of your screen right there. We did record those comments for you, so if we have time later in the stream, perhaps we can get to them. But for now, we will focus on the live event that we have going on right now as we speak at the bottom of your screen and now next to me on your screen. This is Representatives Thompson, Omar, and others holding a news conference on the killing of Renee Good. Let's go live out to that press conference right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a serious moment for our country. Homeland security, to defend us against foreign terrorists. We are not terrorists. If we choose to exert our First Amendment, freedom of speech, to demonstrate, to express ourselves, that does not make us terrorists. That does not mean that people need to be shot and killed like Renee Nicole just for being there. Please, folks, don't let this die. We've got to push hard, like our ranking member has said, to make sure we have full investigation, full accountability. These are our taxpayer dollars. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce my colleagues, Mr. Thanader.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. I also want to thank our leader, ranking member Thompson, for his leadership, and all of my colleagues here who are actively speaking out against what's happening in America. Just a few weeks ago, I, introduced a bill in the U.S. Congress eliminating qualified immunity for ICE agents. When ICE agents murder American citizens in our cities, they must face consequences. They must be brought to justice, and they cannot hide behind, as the Vice President J.D. Vance suggested, hiding behind this immunity. So my bill would ask that the qualified immunity be removed for these murderers. In our cities all across America, ICE is working beyond control under the leadership of Kristi Noem. My second ask, and I'm just proud to have co-sponsored a resolution to impeach Secretary Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem has lied to my Homeland Security Committee. She has misused taxpayer funds and now leading an agency, leading ICE, that is committing crimes across America. Kristi Noem must be impeached. She must face the consequences of this. And we must, finally, we must reform ICE. But it looks at this stage, folks, ICE is beyond reform. ICE is totally out of control. And this week, I intend to introduce a bill to abolish ICE. We need to make ICE go away. 2003, before 2003, without ICE, various federal agencies were able to take care of business, and we can do this without ICE. But we do not need the murderers. We do not need this paramilitary organizations, members on our street terrorizing U.S. citizens, terrorizing moms, terrorizing our children. To summarize, I ask Kristi Noem be impeached. I ask that ICE be abolished, and I certainly ask that the qualified immunity for ICE end right now. Thank you all. I would ask my colleague Delia Ramirez to come and address the press.
Thank you, Congressman. Well, good afternoon. It's a cloudy day. It's 1 week from the horrifying murder that we all saw on video happen in Minnesota. And it is cloudy because we know that we're weeping at what we are seeing happen around the country. You see, for the last year, as Americans watch the violence and indignity on their phones and televisions, they have come to understand what so many of us already know. DHS, as it's operating, is now a threat to every one of us. But I want to be clear. What is happening today in our communities, it's not an accident, and it's not new. DHS immigration agents in many cases are not operating rogue. And I'll tell you why. Because from its establishment, the Department of Homeland Security and ICE has been empowered through a lack of oversight and too much latitude to violate our rights under the pretense of securing our safety. Now, do you feel safe right now? Do you believe that DHS operates with due process? Do you think that they are abiding by the law? Cursing out U.S. citizens, do you think they have respect for the American people? And what you saw on January 7th in Minneapolis is that Americans saw the danger of infusing resources into DHS abuse of power. ICE shot citizen Renee Nicole Good in the face and then called her names. So now we have seen so plainly what DHS can do with its unlimited resources and unchecked power. Funding ICE only fuels our own destruction. We cannot assure our security by sacrificing our humanity, our dignity, or liberty. So what can we do? How do we protect our Constitution? How do we protect our constituents? Well, we have to do three things. One, there has to be consequences for how DHS has abused taxpayer dollars to violate our rights. We must use Congress appropriations power to hold DHS and ICE accountable. Yes, we must oppose new investments, even more money, and demand policy change and reforms. We have to claw back ICE's funding as a natural consequence for DHS's disregard for the rule of law and violations of our rights. Number two, there has to be accountability for every act of violence and lawlessness perpetrated by federal agents on the ground. For every constituent who has been tear gassed, hit with pepper balls, subjected to warrantless arrest and precision immobilization maneuvers. For those that have been kidnapped and disappeared, we must prosecute the criminals in masks. Number three, we must work together as an organized caucus committed to be the opposition party, even as the minority party, to build the pressure and to also build the case so that we can, in fact, impeach Noam and every single fascist leader so they never, ever hold public office again. Look, I called for her resignation back in April. It feels like 100 years ago. And yes, I have called for impeachment before. But Homeland and every member here wants to make sure we go through a process that actually gets us to the outcome we want. And that is why I'm happy to be working with our leaders here today, with the Committee of Judiciary and Oversight, to ensure that our efforts ultimately do, in fact, lead to her removal. Whether it's by resignation, whether it's by termination, or by impeachment. But Kristi Noem has got to go, and we will do everything in our power to ensure it happens as quickly as possible. With that, I'd like to now introduce to you my colleague here to the right of me, the Honorable Congressman Tim Kennedy.
Thank you. First, let me begin by thanking the ranking member of Homeland Security, past chair and future chair of the Homeland Security Committee, Benny Thompson, for organizing this effort, and for all of my colleagues for joining us here today. For far too long, we've seen a Department of Homeland Security under this administration that is unchecked, unrestrained, unhinged, and at this juncture, unconstitutional. Secretary Noem began her tenure by unleashing ICE into our cities, ignoring due process, and detaining U.S. citizens, lawful residents, and children with cancer. On top of that, she's defied federal court orders, withheld FEMA dollars intended for disaster survivors, blocked meaningful oversight of DHS, and obstructed the United States Congress time and time again. And in recent months, she's only doubled down on her mission to terrorize our communities and militarize our streets, which has brought violence to our neighborhoods. Tragically, these reckless decisions culminated in the death of Renee Nicole Good, a mother of three, a devout Christian, a partner, a poet, and a beloved community member of Minneapolis who had the courage to stand up for what is right. This department has lost all credibility, allegiance to the rule of law, and any shred of decency and integrity that was left. House Democrats are here today to stand up for the rule of law, protect fundamental rights, and fight for the future of all of our communities across this great nation. It is time for decisive action to end this systemic abuse of power by Secretary Noem. The safety of the American people is at risk, and the future of our country hangs in the balance. Kristi Noem must resign immediately, or this body must act to impeach her. I now call on my good friend, Representative LaMonica McIver.
Good afternoon, everyone. I first want to take a moment to thank our ranking member, Benny Thompson, for hosting this press conference today and for his leadership. As mentioned, I'm Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, and I represent communities in New Jersey that live in constant fear. Families too terrified to step outside, send their kids to school, go to the grocery store, or take a trip to the doctor because of the harassment of ICE and Homeland Security. This isn't about public safety, and it's not public safety. It's state-sponsored fear. And the fear people live, the fear that people feel is real and unwarranted. Families are being ripped apart. Americans are being brutalized. People are dying. People are dying in ICE custody. And the government is trying to stop anyone from conducting oversight of their brutality. And I know that firsthand. An ICE agent who reports to Kristi Noem shot and killed an American citizen in the street last week. Then, without a single one of the facts, Kristi Noem called Renee Nicole Good, the woman who ICE killed in her car, a domestic terrorist, before she even knew her name. Let me speak directly to Secretary Noem today. You are terrible at doing your job. You are incompetent. You are shameless. But most of all, you are cruel. The American people do not want you. We do not want you. And we will do whatever we need to do to make sure you will not hold that post soon. God will judge you, and Democrats are going to remove you from office that you never deserved to hold in the first place. With that, I would like to call up my colleague, James Wickeshaw from Virginia.
All right. Briefly back here in the studio on Live Impact News, as that press conference is ongoing, we will rejoin it if it's still going after a brief piece of breaking news here. Breaking news that could very well be impacting you watching this right now in regards to your cell phone service. Numerous Verizon customers across the United States experienced a service outage today that left many iPhones in SOS mode. More than 170,000 customers as of the 1:10 p.m. reporting of this story on 13 News Now reported issues with their cell service starting around noon Eastern. That's 170,000 customers reporting issues with their cell service starting around noon Eastern. Who knows how many customers it could potentially be impacting. I do know that one of the customers it's impacting is myself. My phone currently in SOS mode. I am a Verizon customer, and my phone is in SOS mode as we speak. So these issues are impacting people right here in Hampton Roads, as evidenced by me. This is reporting straight from the source in this particular instance. But I'm bringing you this information because it could be impacting you as well. Verizon issued a statement saying, "We are aware of an issue impacting wireless voice and data services for some customers. Our engineers are engaged and are working to identify and solve the issue quickly. We understand how important reliable connectivity is and apologize for the inconvenience." So, SOS mode. Check your phone if you are a Verizon user. Up in the top right-hand corner, you will see those three letters, SOS, where it would typically be showing you your cellular service. If that is the case, then obviously you have lost your cellular connection for the time being. But so have hundreds of thousands of other customers across the United States. And it looks like, Naya, you pulled up a map, or not a map, a chart here for us on Down Detector, which shows an alarming spike. Good job by Verizon having very few outages from 2 p.m. to 11 a.m., but then you see right there that spike in outages reported in the last 24 hours, as clearly this is an issue that is widespread. So if you are going through it, it's not just you. If you haven't checked your phone in a while and you're expecting an important call or text message, or you need to be available for friends or loved ones to contact, it may be something that you want to look into. Perhaps send an email to let people know, hey, my phone isn't working. If you need to contact me, try here, or reach out to people in some other way and let them know. Maybe attach yourself or get on Wi-Fi so that you can send a message if you're about to head out, letting people know that you can't be reached for the time being while Verizon works on this issue. You also had a list of cities where this is especially impactful, Naya. Do you still have that list up for us?
Yeah, they're here. You see New York City, Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, Houston, Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Miami, Ashburn,
Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
which is, up near Washington, D.C., I believe. So obviously this affecting Virginia, and obviously it's affecting Hampton Roads as it's affected myself. Now, Naya, it appears as though you're having no issues with your cellular service.
I am not, but I have T-Mobile.
Okay, everything's working out fine. If you need to reach me, contact Naya Campbell, and she will help facilitate that communication. Hopefully Verizon gets this issue fixed soon, but we just wanted to let everybody know that if you are struggling with your phone, you're not alone. Verizon is working on the problem, and it is a widespread issue for the time being with cellular connectivity. Okay, should we head back out to this press conference now? Is that a sufficient update, Naya, or do you have anything more to add on the cell phone situation?
Nothing more to add. We can go back out.
Okay, let's head back out to that press conference now.
Against the American people. Renee's family, her wife, and her children deserve justice, and all of our communities deserve safety and dignity. And with that, it's my honor to introduce my colleague, Congressman Troy Carter.
Thank you all for being here on this brisk afternoon, and I want to particularly thank my dear friend and our ranking member, Benny Thompson, for having the courage, the wisdom, and the tenacity for convening this important press conference today. Mr. Vice President, Secretary Noem, allow me to give you the briefing that your staffs failed to give you. Renee Nicole Macklin Good was a mother of three, a wife, a writer, a poet, a devoted Christian, a United States citizen. She wasn't a terrorist. She wasn't there to cause harm. She was exercising what we often encourage people to do. If you see an injustice, say something. If you see an injustice, do something. Many would say that she was a hero because she saw an injustice and she didn't retreat to the comfort of her home. In fact, she put herself in harm's way after dropping her baby off to school, as many of us do. She stood up for the American value. She stood up for free speech, for protection under the law. And she paid the ultimate price by a rogue, so-called peace officer who chose violence over de-escalation, who chose bravado over questioning fairly. See, this is not the America that we stand for. This is not the America that you stand for. Mr. President, she was not a terrorist. Madam Secretary, she was not a terrorist as you described her. We honor her today by rejecting hate, choosing compassion, and demanding a country where everyone gets home safely, even when we disagree. Free speech is not unique to language we want to hear. Free speech is not relegated to only those things you agree with. Free speech is protected, especially when you don't agree, especially when you don't like what you hear. That's what makes America so great. That's why accountability matters. Under Donald Trump and Kristi Noem's Department of Homeland Security, they've deployed federal forces not to protect communities, unfortunately, to terrorize them. We're seeing this in New Orleans with the influx of masked, unidentifiable federal agents involved in Operation Catahoula Crunch. Sounds like a dance or a cheap cereal, but it isn't. It's an attack on individual freedoms and rights. And today we stand against that. And tomorrow we'll stand against that. And next week and next year and the year after that, we will stand against that. And our numbers and our voices will grow stronger and larger as more and more citizens recognize that an affront to any individual is an affront to every individual. To make matters worse, instead of seeking information, instead of being briefed and getting facts, our secretary chose to lie and smear the victim and cover up the truth. And this administration ordered the Justice Department to investigate her grieving wife. Federal prosecutors are resigning in protest because they know this is wrong. Let me be clear, lest anyone in this audience or anyone watching this later misunderstand what we're saying today. We support strong action against any dangerous individuals who commit any acts of violence. We must stop these operations that create fear and disruption for families, workers, and small business owners. This violence, corruption, and abuse of power cannot stand. Secretary Noem has defied the law, obstructed Congress, and violated the very oath of office she swore to protect and defend our great country. It is time that this must stop. We will not stop until it has stopped. Now it is my honor to present to you the esteemed member of Congress from Texas, my dear brother and friend, Representative Al Green.
Thank you, Troy. I appreciate greatly your very kind words. And I, too, would like to thank the chairman in waiting, ranking member currently, for being so courageous and bold as to take us in this direction. His leadership is invaluable. His stewardship has proven to us that he is the right person in the right place at the right time. And today, we the people, by the way, we are the we and we the people. Today, we the people would like the world to know that what happened to Miss Good is an injustice that will not go without accountability. We must remember that the BBC has reported the wife of Miss Good has said, we had whistles, they had guns. We had whistles, they had guns. We might also note that Ms. Noem, immediately after the shooting took place, concluded that Ms. Good was a terrorist. It's been said by many of my colleagues. I agree. This is what she said, a domestic terrorist. Friends, if Miss Renee Nicole Good can be labeled, styled, captioned a domestic terrorist, any one of us can. Any one of you can become a domestic terrorist. And the fate that she suffered can befall any one of you. If they can do it to her, an American citizen, in her car, saying, I'm not mad at you, pulling away to avoid the tragedy that she suffered, it can happen to any one of us. So we have a duty, a responsibility, and an obligation, a moral obligation, to make sure that we do all that we can to get justice for Miss Renee Nicole Good. And that justice includes a thorough investigation. Notably, the Trump Justice Department has concluded that it will shut out the locals, shut them out, not allow them to have access to information. This says to me, Al Green, one member of Congress, I speak for no one except myself and anybody who agrees with me. It says to me that they are setting us up to prevent the officers or officer from being properly charged And if he is charged and convicted, they're setting us up to understand that what happened here at the nation's capital, when it was encroached upon by hundreds of people, some say thousands, and afterwards, people were convicted, more than 1,500. And the President of the United States, immediately upon being put into office, decided that he would allow all of them to go free by way of his pen and an order. I believe the President is preparing us so that he can do exactly again what he did to those hundreds of people who performed an insurrection here on the Capitol. He is going to exonerate them by way of an executive order. I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'm sorry if you think that I spoke too
Thank
much.
you so much. We now have Ms. Juliet Johnson, who's a last member of the committee and obviously a valued member of the committee from Texas.
I'm going to be really quick, not to summarize what everyone else has said. The bottom line is Kristi Noem executed an oath for this Constitution to uphold its laws. She's enabling her agency and organization to violate every aspect of due process, to violate the law and terrorize American citizens. The Committee on Homeland Security, the Homeland Dems, we intend to use every tool, every mechanism, every opportunity, every time to speak out, to condemn, to hold her accountable in every way possible within every tool we have in this Congress. Because the American people will not tolerate for its government to exercise rogue authoritarian dictatorship control and abuse and terrorize American citizens on the street of this country. You can't drive your car, drop your kid off to school, and get executed by your government in the United States of America, and that will not be tolerated. So we're here to tell you, to tell this country, to tell the world that we intend to do everything we can to hold her completely accountable, and she must go. Thank you so much.
Because they've called votes, we're going to have to shorten the question. The issue before us today is Homeland Dems have decided to move toward holding Kristi Noem accountable for the actions of the department. ICE, as well as FEMA and some other areas will be looked at. Nothing is off the table, but accountability is the key of what we're talking about. Yes. Nothing is off the table. It's accountability. We will be in Minneapolis this weekend, looking there. We plan to go to other areas. We want to talk to communities. We want to get a sense of what's happening more than what we are seeing on TV. So members, Democratic members, will be going all over the country, collecting data, testimony, and other things as to what's going on. And ultimately, that accountability will lead us to a decision. Some people, as you've heard, have already reached a decision, but from the standpoint of the committee as a whole, we're looking at accountability. And no one, including this administration, is above the law.
Congressman Thompson?
Yes.
Just a few hours earlier, one of your colleagues had a press conference announcing an impeachment resolution on Secretary Noem. Members in this press conference also said that they already reached that conclusion. Does that undermine your effort, which you say is going to be a process? You're not ready to jump to that conclusion.
Well, look, we have one resolution that has 50 names of members already on it. But I think the key is for those who have jurisdiction, we have decided that we want to move toward accountability. We'll be talking with the Judiciary Committee as well as Government Reform and Oversight to see whether or not this accountability can be moved forward. But obviously, there are some people who've been directly impacted by the actions of ICE, and they feel so impacted, they're moving forward with impeachment. And that's one of the fundamental rights that the framers of our Constitution put together, is that we can do just that. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So ICE is funded for 3 years into the
Well, yes. There are a lot of people who look at it. They have the resources. This administration is in charge, and Democrats are the minority party. All we can do is move forward, elevate the issues so the public understand what's happening. As a nation of laws, we can't have people running around with masks on asking people for their citizenship. We are not a tin-horn dictatorship. We are a democracy. Thank you very much.
Congressman, we heard Congressman Danadar say he wants to introduce a bill to abolish ICE. Do any of the three of you support that, sir?
All right, a lengthy press conference there in Washington, D.C. from Democratic lawmakers speaking about the shooting death of 37-year-old Renee Good in Minneapolis last Wednesday. A story that we have been covering extensively and that continues to make headlines. The Department of Homeland Security obviously wrapped up heavily in that story, along with the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. Earlier today, other lawmakers took to the podium to speak about the Department of Homeland Security and Secretary Noem. Let's go to a recording of that press conference now. We'll have a listen in. We have a couple of live events upcoming, but for the time being, we are going to listen to that press conference. It is closely related to the press conference we just heard in terms of topic and tone. So let's listen in.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. This morning, I introduced articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. I am proud to have the support of almost 70 members of Congress already from all across the country. Secretary Noem has brought her reign of terror to the Chicagoland area, LA, New Orleans, Charlotte, Durham, and communities north to south to east to west. You'll hear from some of those communities, Minnesota and Portland. She needs to be held accountable for her actions. This is why I introduced 3 articles of impeachment against Secretary Noem. Number 1, obstruction of Congress. Secretary Noem has denied me and other members of Congress oversight of ICE detention facilities. I was denied access to the ICE facility in Broadview despite following Secretary Noem's unlawful 7-day notice requirement. It is our constitutional duty to find out what's happening in these centers where inhumane conditions continue to be reported. Number 2, violation of public trust. Secretary Noem directed DHS agents to arrest people without warrants, use tear gas against citizens, and ignore due process. She claims she's taken murderers and rapists off our streets, but none of the 614 people arrested during Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago have been charged or convicted of murder or rape. Federal agents repelled from Black Hawk helicopters and burst through an apartment in the South Shore of Chicago. That was in my district. They dragged people, U.S. citizens and immigrants alike, out of bed in the middle of the night. Number 3 is self-dealing. Secretary Noem has abused her power for personal benefit. She steered a federal contract to a new firm run by a friend. Her propaganda campaign to recruit ICE agents cost taxpayers $200 million. She made a video that turned the South Shore raid into something that looked like a movie trailer. But make no mistake, this is not a movie. This is real life, and real people are being hurt and killed. Renee Nicole Good is dead because Secretary Noem allowed her DHS agents to run amok. Families are forever torn apart. This is not about personalities or trivial disagreements. Secretary Noem has called my impeachment efforts silly. I want to tell her right now, Secretary Noem, you have violated your oath of office, and there will be consequences. I am watching you, members of Congress are watching you, the American people, most importantly, are watching you. And most of all, we are not liking what we're seeing. If you believe impeachment is silly, then you are not taking your job or our Constitution seriously. Now it's my honor to introduce Congressman Adriano Espaillat from New York's 13th District and chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus.
Thank you, Congresswoman Robin Kelly. I am proud to join you in introducing these articles of impeachment against Secretary Nome, who have clearly violated the law and the trust of the American people. 32 people died under DHS custody in 2025, and already 4 people have died in 2026, along widespread reports of sexual abuse, medical neglect, and inhumane conditions. All of this enabled by a broken system. But most importantly, our eyes do not defy us. Our eyes did not lie to us. We see, as the rest of the world has seen, how women are being violently pulled out of their cars and assaulted in front of the American people and in front of the eyes of the world. How a woman was shot in the face as America watched on TV and as the rest of the world watched of this heinous murder. We've seen how not only immigrants, but green card holders, TPS recipients, farm workers, and even American citizens are being stopped illegally, cuffed, detained, and in some cases arrested and deported. I went to Monterrey, Mexico, where I met with 4 children, US-born children, American citizens, that were sent to Mexico with their parents, including a young girl with a chronic cancer condition in her brain that needed immediate medical attention in a hospital in Houston, Texas. So this is a human rights violation, a blatant human rights violation. This is only seen in aggressive dictatorships across the world. And so that's what we have. This is the Trump dictatorship. Do you think that a dictatorship knocks on your door and gives you a dozen roses when you open it? A dictatorship takes away your rights, your fundamental rights. It creeps up behind you and it assaults you. Eventually, it knocks on your door and shoots you. This is what's happening in America today. And so that's why it is important to hold the secretary accountable. This is enshrined in our laws and our Constitution. We must exercise our oversight powers. Congresswoman Velasquez and I.
All right, back here in the live Impact News studio, in the midst of that pre-recorded press conference, impeachment articles brought against Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Now, we will get back to that momentarily. For now, we have to go to another live event because Danish and Greenland officials are holding a presser at the Danish embassy in Washington, D.C. Of course, President Trump has been vocal in his desire to take over Greenland, if you will. And so now we have officials from Greenland and Denmark responding in a presser at the Danish embassy. Let's go live to D.C.
Not dock slates, but ships, drones, fighter jets, etc. And we are definitely ready to do more. The US has already a wide military access to Greenland. Under the 1951 Defense Agreement, the US can always ask for increasing its presence in Greenland. And therefore we wish to hear if the US had any further requests to make in this aspect. We would examine any such request constructively. Greenland is, through the Kingdom of Denmark, a member of NATO and has been that since the very founding of NATO in 1949 and is therefore also covered by Article 5. We have been pushing for quite a while in NATO for a stronger collective role in Greenland together with a number of allies, and we are eager to work with the US on advancing this agenda, and we are prepared to go further. Therefore, our aim was to find a common understanding on all these points and to launch, if possible, further in-depth work to deliver on them. On this basis, we had what I will describe as a frank but also constructive discussion. The discussions focused on how to ensure the long-term security in Greenland. And here our perspectives continue to differ, I must say. The President has made his view clear, and we have a different position. We, the Kingdom of Denmark, continue to believe that also the long-term security of Greenland can be ensured inside the current framework, the 1951 agreement on the defense of Greenland, as well as the NATO treaty. For us, ideas that would not respect territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark and the right of self-determination of the Greenlandic people are, of course, totally unacceptable. And we therefore still have a fundamental disagreement, but we also agree to disagree. And therefore we will, however, continue to talk. We have decided to form a high-level working group to explore if we can find a common way forward. The group, in our view, should focus on how to address the American security concerns, while at the same time respecting the red lines of the Kingdom of Denmark. We expect that such a group will meet for a first time within a matter of weeks. And then I will pass the floor to my colleague from Greenland, Vivian Mosfeld.
Thank you so much. Not repeating what already been said here, so I would like to say something in my own language, because there are many people in Greenland that follows, and for that I hope that you will allow me. So aseseka nunaqatikka naringiraarta masmarinnaasusi ulloq uatsinnut pissanganarsimavoq oqaatigilagani ullumik ataatimiineq ingerlalluarsimammat aamalu inimi ataatimiiffigisatsinni атаққиқатигиинеқ ааллаавигалугу оқалеқатигиинери ингерланеқарсимаммата массаккуллу сиуму саммисимик оқалеқатигиинерит ингерлаққиннissaанут аққутиник уярлеқатигииниссатсиннут исимақатигисималлута. I think that our meeting today and our commitment to find the right path is something that gives us to be able to see forward. And by saying that, I also committed on what Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen already said. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And then I think we can take a few questions. Tom from BBC. Yes.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Just first of all, you talked about the working group. Can you just give us a sense of what this means now? So what has actually been agreed you're going to do next, despite this, as you described it, fundamental disagreement? And you mentioned the dog slates. In terms of what you've announced in terms of beefing up security in the Arctic around Greenland, when you hear that kind of language from President Trump about amounting to no more than 2 dog slates, how does that make you feel?
Well, that's actually quite a few questions at the same time. Well, I have known the President for quite a while, also in my former capacity as Prime Minister in Denmark, and I know his approach. But I must say, and even though he addressed things quite differently from what I would have done myself, there's also always a bit of truth in what he's saying, not about the dog slates. Well, we also have dog slates to our special forces. That's the way to, otherwise you couldn't come around in the northern part of Greenland. But I must say that, of course, we share to some extent his concerns. There is definitely a new security situation in the Arctic and the high north. All of us, transatlantic, took the peace dividend years ago. And we have the vision of keeping Arctic as a low-tension region. That's probably also why U.S. themselves have decided to have a much softer footprint in Greenland. During the Cold War, at some stage, they had 17 different military installations and military bases. Now they only have one. They had like 10,000 personnel in Greenland. Now they have around 200. That's not our decision. That's a U.S. decision. And now the situation is entirely different. And of course, we have to respond to this. The big difference is whether that must lead to a situation where U.S. acquire Greenland, and that is absolutely not necessary. I mean, we have the long-lasting diplomatic relation, the longest-lasting diplomatic relation with U.S. that any U.S. ally has, 225 years in a row. And we have a perfect framework which could be used. And therefore, to answer your question, even though we wasn't so successful that we reached, a conclusion where our American colleagues said, "Oh, sorry, it was totally misunderstanding. We give up on our ambitions." There's clearly a disagreement. We agreed that it makes sense to try to sit down on a high level to explore whether there is possibilities to accommodate the concerns of the president while we at the same time respect the red lines of the Kingdom of Denmark. So this is the work we will start. Whether that is doable, I don't know. I hope, and I would like to express that it could take, down the temperature. We have now had 13 months with this ongoing discussions in social media, and this is actually the very first time where we could sit down at a top political level to discuss it. And it was a great opportunity also for Vivian and I to go up against the narrative because it is not a true narrative that we have, Chinese warships all around the place. According to our intelligence, we haven't had a Chinese warship in Greenland for a decade or so. So from that perspective, it was a very constructive meeting. As I said, frank discussion among equal partners, and now at least we have to give it a try. Do you want to add anything?
No, I think it's very important to say it again, that how important it is from our side to strengthen our cooperation with the United States, but that doesn't mean that we want to be owned by United States, but as allies, how we can strengthen our cooperation, it's all our interest.
Yes, Kim?
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, I would like to ask this question in Danish, but let me do it in English here
Yes.
because of our colleagues here. Do you see any compromise ahead of you? You said it a little bit. Could you elaborate a little on the possible compromise that there would be between the president's wish to acquire Greenland or have control of Greenland and the red lines that the Kingdom of Denmark has got right now? And if you also can tell us just a little bit about the approach that the Americans had to this meeting. What was their primary goal, as you see it? Was that to reach that end goal, or was it an open discussion of how do we solve the security situation in the Arctic?
Well, first of all, I don't think this is the proper place to elaborate on what could be a compromise. The whole idea and the reason why we asked for this meeting was to turn public debate in a very, black and white kind of setting into a discussion where there's room for nuances. And therefore, I'm pleased, even though we do not agree whether this is doable, while we at the same time should respect the kingdom's red lines, at least it is productive to start discussions at a high level. And then we have to see whether we will be successful or not. I would say, and that is probably in comparison to some of the public debate, that the meeting took place in a very constructive atmosphere, where we also had, as I said, the opportunity to at least challenge the narrative presented by the American president. And I think that is a necessity if we want to have a proper debate. It was basically about security. I mean, and as I said, even though there's not an instant threat from China and Russia, at least not a threat we can't accommodate, For instance, Chinese investments, we have avoided that due to close cooperation between Greenland and Denmark. When you saw, like 10 years ago, the Belt and Road Initiative and the idea of Chinese investments in infrastructure in Greenland, we avoided that. So there's no, Chinese present in Greenland, but there's a concern. Will that be the case in like a 10 or 20 years from now? It will not, because our Greenlandic friends have introduced investment screening schemes, etc. And Denmark, is by all means on the right side of history. And therefore, we will also continue to do what we already have done. We have been stepping up. We have allocated almost $15 billion within just the last couple of years to capabilities in the high north. We have been pushing among the Arctic NATO states for a bigger NATO engagement. Honestly speaking, and now I can only point fingers at the former American administration, US has historically been a bit reluctant. Hopefully that will change now. There's a dialogue within the NATO framework, and we want to step up. And hopefully that could also accommodate some of the president's concern. But it's not that I'm now, saying everything is solved. It's not solved. We didn't manage, but and honestly speaking, I didn't believe that was doable. We didn't manage to change the American position. It's clear that the president has this wish of conquering over Greenland. We made it very, very clear that this is not in the interest of the kingdom. There's a government in Greenland with support from 3/4 of the Greenlandic population. The premier made it very, very clear yesterday that Greenland, for the time being and for foreseeable future, will remain within the kingdom of Denmark. And therefore, this is a common position that we want to work with our American friends and allies, but it must be a respectful cooperation and it must respect the red lines. Should we take a very final question and then, yeah, come on. There's a fight going on now about, okay, yes. We can do that afterwards, yeah. Vivian?
I think that it's never been so important to initiate that we are allies, we are friends, we have been cooperated in many, many years, we have history together, so it's all our interest to find the right balances. So I don't think I can say it longer than that. Of course, we have work to do in the future. And for us, the most important is that you find the normalized relationship we used to have, and it's very important. And I think that we have initiated so many times where we stand and our geopolitical and location and everything that is very important, and we do it as an ally, and we do it. Of course, it's also our interest that Greenland's positions and how we do it, that you do it on behalf of the allies. And yes.
Yeah, that will be the final question. That will be the final question.
Can I just ask you about the emotion of this moment? What did the administration, what did Trump's team say to you when you presumably told them that you can't just take over a people, you can't just take over and acquire a nation? Was there any discussion about, did they appreciate that perspective, or for them is this simply about security?
I think that what we have been saying, that the meeting is been on a respect way, and we have shown where our limits are, and from there, I think that it would be very good to look forward, and this high level group that is going to work together. As I'm already saying, that it's all our interest to find the right path. It's all according to the security in Northern Hemisphere. So I don't want to say more than what we discussed in the closed meeting room, but I would like to have this, how do you say it in English? Hope for a more mutual understanding and trying to find the right balances is equally from all countries.
It is, of course, very emotional for all of us, and of course, particularly for people living up in Greenland, but also for people in Denmark. We have 17,000 Greenlandic people living in Denmark. It sums up to like 1/3 of the Greenlandic population. We have a lot of Danes living in Greenland, more than 1 out of 10, which just emphasize that Denmark and Greenland are, integrated, and it has been that for centuries. And we look at ourselves as U.S. closest allies. I've had this discussion with the president previously. In Afghanistan, we had exactly as many casualties as U.S. And I know very well that, the future is not necessarily about the past, but I think it is important also to have the past in mind. And we are eager to fulfill our promises. And even though our view on the situation right now around Greenland differs from public statements in the US, we share the concerns in a long time perspective. And we want to work closely with the US, but it must, of course, be a respectful kind of cooperation. And we both took the opportunity, of course, also to express that it is not easy to think innovative about solutions when you wake up every morning to different threats. Whether that will have an impact, I can't say for sure, but I can only say that it is in everybody's interest, even though we disagree, that we agree to try to explore whether it is doable to accommodate some of the concerns while at the same time respecting the integrity of the Danish kingdom's territory and the self-determination of the Greenlandic people. Thank you.
Okay, so there you have it. Officials from Denmark and Greenland speaking at a press conference today in Washington, D.C. ABC News reported earlier today that officials from Denmark and Greenland would be meeting with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Vice President J.D. Vance. Now, they spoke a little bit about some of the results of that meeting, if you will. Among them, the statement that perspectives continue to differ on the long-term security of Greenland. But they did say they will continue to talk, and those two officials say they will form a high-level working group to explore if we can find a common way forward. They also emphasized, we are allies, we are friends, we have history together. The hope is for us to find the normalized relationship that we used to have. They did mention that this is very emotional. They also said they look at ourselves as the U.S.'s closest allies. They said we are eager to fulfill our promises. But they did include that it's clear the president has this wish of conquering Greenland, something to that effect. And they are hoping that they can address the security concerns while respecting the red lines of the Kingdom of Denmark. So that is currently the situation following the meeting between Danish and Greenland officials with officials from the United States, with state officials from the U.S. Now, we also have video of President Donald Trump aboard Air Force One on January 11th, so 3 days ago now, but he was asked about Greenland during that particular press availability aboard Air Force One. So I think we should probably listen to that sound now, Just in case, though, Naya, can we take just a look at what's happening on one of our live feeds here? We have a aerial view of a protest against ICE in St. Paul, Minnesota. So we've got that image up on our screen here. You can see at the very top of the stairs there in the center a sign that says ICE out MN. MN, ostensibly the letters representing the state Minnesota. ICE out Minnesota. And there you can see a protest that's happening in St. Paul right now against ICE. As we've mentioned on Live Impact multiple times, protests are ongoing in the state of Minnesota. We mentioned earlier in the week how the Department of Homeland Security sent even more border authorities and immigration authorities to Minnesota in response to those protests. So another protest that we see here on our screen right now. We wanted to take a brief look at that before we re-engage with the story involving the United States and Greenland. So let's go ahead and listen to President Donald Trump's comments now following that live press conference of Danish and Greenland officials after their meeting with United States officials. Let me make sure this is clear here. This sound from President Trump is when he was asked about Greenland on January 11th, 3 days ago. But because Danish and Greenland officials are right here meeting with U.S. officials today, because we just heard their live press conference, we want to also listen in on comment from President Trump, some of his more recent comments on Greenland, since we're in the midst of reporting that story now. Let's listen in on what Trump had to say.
New York Post treats me semi-fairly. So go ahead.
One group taking your threats very seriously is Greenland. Are you still thinking of military action there, or is there anything they can...
Where? Military action?
Greenland. Is there anything they can offer you for a deal?
If we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will. And I'm not letting that happen. If we don't take Greenland, Russia or China will take Greenland. And I am not going to let that happen.
Is there any deal they can offer you? Either like...
Yeah, sure. I'd love to make a deal with them. It's easier. But one way or the other, we're going to have Greenland.
Are you okay if that compromises NATO? If NATO effectively ceases to exist?
I'm doing a great job. I'm the one that saved NATO. I'm the one that got them to pay 5% of GDP. Wait a minute. It was 2%, and they didn't pay. Now they're paying 5%. I'm the one that saved NATO. You wouldn't have NATO if I weren't president.
Would you pull the U.S. out of NATO? Would you consider doing that?
Well, maybe NATO would be upset if I did it. Maybe NATO would save a lot of money. But I like NATO. I just wonder whether or not if we needed NATO, would they be there for us? I'm not sure they would. We spend a lot of money on NATO, and I'm not sure they would.
But what would you say?
Now, what's happened is, as you know, Sleepy Joe Biden gave $350 billion to Ukraine and got nothing for it. I got rare earth back. I got, I think, value back far greater than that. And that's what he should have done. Now, if you look at what's going on with respect to NATO, we have a very good relationship. 5% GDP, and they pay us. We send them military equipment, and they pay us back the full cost of the equipment. The war is, we make money with the war, but I don't even want to talk about that. I want to save the lives. They're Russian and Ukrainian lives. I want to save the lives. That's the only reason I'm doing it. This is Biden's war. Should have never happened. Would have never happened if I were president. This is Biden's war. It's not Trump's war. All I can do is stop it. And I think we're making progress toward stopping it, which would be number 9.25. You know what the quarter is, right? Right? Thailand and Cambodia went at it again, but I got it stopped very quickly. I consider that 1/4 of a war.
When was the last time have you made a tangible offer to Greenland yet? Have you made an actual offer to Denmark?
I haven't done that, but Greenland should make the deal because Greenland does not want to see Russia or China take over. They don't go there. It's very far away from Greenland. And Greenland, basically, their defense is 2 dog sleds. Do you know that? You know what their defense is? 2 dog sleds. In the meantime, you have Russian destroyers and submarines and China destroyers and submarines all over the place. We're not going to let that happen.
In the meantime, are you going
And if it affects NATO, then it affects NATO. But, they need us much more than we need them. I will tell you that right now.
Are you going to increase the amount of military bases?
That's a war that should have never happened with Ukraine.
The UK and Germany are discussing plans.
Okay, so comments from President Trump about this this Greenland story that we've been covering here. He also kind of went into talking about the war between Russia and Ukraine there. But sticking with this Greenland story for just a brief moment, Trump mentioned that their defense is 2 dog sleds. ABC News reporting earlier today that last year Copenhagen announced $6.5 billion in an Arctic defense package in response to United States criticism that it had failed to adequately protect Greenland. So, according to ABC News, there has been some investment there in terms of defense. But you heard what President Trump said there in his press conference. He seems undeterred in his pursuit of Greenland, and of course, we heard from Greenland officials and Danish officials just before this in their goal to remain allies and to come to an agreement on the long-term security of Greenland. And they also mentioned how eager they are to fulfill their promises, though noting that this has been a very emotional process and hoping to find the normalized relationship that they used to have. So that is the latest update on that particular international relations story. It's one that we will continue to report on, as always, as we go here on Live Impact News. Naya, I've noticed that is often how I wrap our stories, is by saying we'll continue to report on it as we go forward in Live Impact News. If you and I want to get together to maybe brainstorm some secondary options for me, since I tend to repeat that statement quite a bit. But this is a very important story and one that obviously is not going away anytime soon. So it remains true that we will continue to focus on it as we go. Now, we have a couple of other things that we can go to that we recorded earlier today. We were a few minutes in to a press conference by representatives announcing impeachment proceedings against Secretary Noem of the Department of Homeland Security. That is what we were watching before we went to those officials from Greenland and from Denmark. Articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, the best possible way to phrase that. I will once again lay out the 3 counts that they mentioned against Secretary Noem: obstruction of Congress for instances in which members of Congress were denied entry to DHS facilities and for withholding congressionally appropriated disaster relief funding; violation of public trust for allegedly denying ICE detainees due process and violating the First and Fourth Amendments; and self-dealing over reports that Noem awarded $220 million in contracts to a firm run by her top spokesperson's husband. So those 3 counts leading to articles of impeachment brought against Secretary Noem, something that was announced in that press conference that we took a look at earlier today. Let's see, 2:23 p.m. here. We've got about 37 minutes left in our stream. We have a number of different topics that we could possibly cover here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Naya Campbell in now so that we can kind of take a deeper look at where we should go next. Naya, we have a trial that is happening as well that has been of enormous interest in Hampton Roads regarding an au pair and a murder that occurred with an au pair, a husband, and a wife. I'm wondering if that's ongoing. We had that up in the newsroom earlier. If that's something that's ongoing, perhaps we spend some time covering that particular story. If not, then we have a number of other places we can go, but I would probably hone in on that so we come back local for a bit if we have that. If we don't have that, no problem. We can move elsewhere. It looks like you did just pull it up there.
Yes, we do have that feed.
Okay, we do have that feed. Let me go ahead and give some background, get my notes situated here. I'm going to give some background on this particular trial here before we move on. The viewers here with the overhead view getting a really good sense of my organizational capacities, or failures, if you will, as I shuffle through my series of notes here. But we have found the notes that we need to lay a foundation for this trial that we're about to listen in on. This is a trial of Brandon Banfield. He is charged with aggravated murder in the February 2023 deaths of his wife, Christine Banfield, and Joe Ryan. This has occurred in Fairfax County. In October of 2023, the family's au pair was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. They later pleaded guilty to manslaughter, and prosecutors describe a scheme to frame Joe Ryan in the stabbing of Christine Banfield. So again, Brendan Banfield is charged with aggravated murder. That is about regarding the February 2023 deaths of his wife, Christine Banfield, and a man named Joe Ryan. In October of 2023, the family's au pair was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. They later pleaded guilty to manslaughter, and prosecutors describe a scheme to frame Joe Ryan in the stabbing of Christine Bansfield. So that is where we stand currently. Did my microphone go out by chance there, Naya? I may have lost microphone, or perhaps just my headset has gone down.
I can't hear you. I can't hear myself as well, but it seems like we're still getting audio to the viewer.
Oh, and I hear we're back here live. Okay, so that may have just been an us problem. Nonetheless, there's also a report from authorities that there was a romantic affair between the au pair and Brandon Banfield. So a story with a lot of different details that we just tried to lay out for you, and now we are going to go live to the trial as it is happening. Let's head out to Fairfax County now.
So this newfound interest in, a nest egg for yourself or money for you has come about since you pled guilty and accepted their deal, correct?
Well, that is correct.
And you and I guess it took a little time to go out into the future in order for you to feel comfortable doing that. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about my future, yes.
Thinking it was a huge risk?
Is what?
Did you say huge risk?
No, I was thinking about my future, yes. That's
Thinking
what I
about your
said.
future. Okay.
Yes.
And so that gets back to where I started. So that's just what this is about, is just thinking about your future?
You can say that.
Okay. Well, do you say that?
If you want to put it that way, yes.
Okay, thank you. Do you see the letter that's marked March 8th, 2025?
Yes.
Did you write that?
Yes,
Do you see the highlighted portions?
I can.
And, Your Honor, this is Defendant 68. Can you read the highlighted portion to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
It says, I'm talking to this girl. She's an author, published books and everything. She even sent me her books to read. Her name is Kate. She works with the guy named Zacharias. We have video calls sometimes. They are the ones interested in making a documentary with Netflix about my case, interview, etc. So I'm negotiating with them regarding money, etc. Then they could help me while I'm here putting money in my account.
And is that the first time that you told your mom about her?
Well, that's the only message I have here that mentions her, so I would say so.
Okay. And the words say that you're negotiating. Do you have anyone assisting you in negotiating this?
No.
Okay, so it's just you on your own against the television people.
I mean, I had some people, I would say cellmates, that talked to me about it, and they were more, I would say more smart about it, I guess, and telling me to negotiate, and yeah.
Okay.
So I had people telling me that.
So you're getting advice, but you're doing the negotiation.
Well, I was the one texting, yes, but I was getting advice, yes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
I was the one texting, but I was getting advice from other people, yes.
Okay. And those are also on Smart Jail Mail?
Yes, should be. What, the messages?
Yeah, the people that you're getting advice from.
No, it's not.
Okay. How are you communicating with them?
I just said it was my cellmates.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. March 11th, 2025, Defense Exhibit number 69. Ma'am, is this something that you wrote?
Yes.
And the highlighted portion, can you read that for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
It says, I'm still waiting for my lawyer like a fool. He doesn't return any messages or anything, call, visit, nothing. It's been more than a month since I've been trying to talk to him. Anyway, what can I do? I need food. But if depend on him, I will start first. I'm talking to the people I told you about who want to make a documentary with Netflix. The guy says he can send me some money to buy things now, but that he would send a contract through my lawyer for me to sign. But I'm not very confident in doing this because I'm talking to another company that they'll probably be able to offer more,
Okay. And it's clear then you didn't sign a contract, but money has been sent?
Yeah, to buy stuff, yes.
Okay. How much do you think that amount is?
I cannot recall the amount.
Okay. $1,000?
No,
$500?
I don't know.
It's close to 500?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Ma'am, are you able to see what's on the screen?
What?
Are you able to see what's on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. This is going to be related to questions relating to what you have there. Can you see what that is?
Well, I'm not so sure what it is, so.
It's a WhatsApp chat between you and Christine Banfield.
Okay.
Okay?
Is this number 70 for the record?
Yes, Defense Exhibit 70.
Okay.
Do you see that, ma'am?
Yes.
And do you remember on January 9th chatting with Christine Banfield on the phone?
I do not remember the date specifically.
Okay, the date is the date when the email account was created.
Okay.
So I think you'd said she was up in the upstairs bedroom, correct?
Correct.
And you were down in the basement?
I did not say that.
Okay. Do you know where you were?
I said I don't remember.
You don't remember where you were?
I do not.
Okay. And do you remember? Okay, so I think you had testified that you didn't remember where you were when the account was signed on, but
What?
this is
Where when?
when the account was signed in, was created. The email
Well,
account,
now I'm confused.
January 9th?
What?
January 9th?
Oh, okay. I'm confused just about what you just said.
Okay, we previously talked about setting up the email account, and you
Right.
indicated that you and Brendan did it, right?
Right.
And you weren't sure which room of the house, but you were below where Christine was, which was in the top level bedroom, correct?
Yeah, we're always, yes.
But do you
alone.
remember saying that to me? It was just this morning.
Well, I said I didn't remember where I was in the house.
Right, but do you remember saying that the two of you were together, you just weren't sure if it was the main floor or the basement floor?
Yes.
Okay, do you have any clarity on where you were
No.
at this point? Okay.
No.
So, but you were chatting with Christine just prior to the setup of the account, isn't that right?
Well, I do not remember.
Okay, if this is before the setup of the account, you were chatting with her, right? That's all I'm asking is what you have on the screen here.
I'm going to object. I don't think that she's answered that she knows that this is before or after or when in conjunction.
What's the objection? I'm not, I really need one-word objections from you. That would be very helpful.
I apologize, Your Honor. Objection is foundation, lack of foundation.
Okay, foundation, there we go.
Well, I think the foundation is this is the WhatsApps,
Well,
which
you
have
want to
been
lay a foundation for it, that's fine.
for the question?
Yes.
Okay. We previously talked about you and Brendan setting up an email account, correct?
Correct.
And it was on January 9th, correct?
Well, I'll take it for it. Correct.
Okay. And, well, do you dispute that it was on January 9th?
I'm saying if you're asking me about dates again, I don't know about date, but if that's what says on the system, the history, I'll take for it.
Okay, well, I don't necessarily want you to do that. What I want you to do is remember it, and what one might do when trying to remember it is remember the times that you and he were together and who was signing into the accounts.
Mr. Carroll, is there a question there?
I'm just trying to direct her.
I need a question.
Sorry. So you don't know what day the account was set up?
I already said it before, I don't.
Okay. And you're not sure are you certain as to whether or not this is a communication that you had on January 9th?
Again, Mr. Carroll, if it's here, it is what it is.
Okay, so we can conclude that you had a WhatsApp chat.
Right.
And from there on after this, you don't remember anything?
Gosh. No, I don't.
Okay. Let me switch gears here and go through something hopefully that you'll know. Ma'am, can you see the slides
Yes, I can.
that are before you?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recognize those?
Yes.
Okay. If I told you this was January 21st, 2023, would you know, did you do this or did Brendan do this?
I would say based on the writing he did.
I don't know that, I'm not sure what you said.
I said he did.
Brendan did.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Carroll, just again for the record, is this a 71?
This would be a presentation as 71.
The whole PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, this is a FetLight message from January 19th, 2023. Do you recall that message?
Well, it's very similar to many other messages that were exchanged on the website.
It's very similar to what?
To the other messages exchanged on the website.
Okay. Do you recognize this?
It's very familiar, yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me, did you create this or did Brendan create this?
Both of us will still write basically the same things, I would say. Very similar ways, and yeah.
Okay, let's try it this way. Who typed it?
Well, both of us use it to type.
Okay, so which one typed this one?
I can tell for sure, this one.
So you don't know which one of you did it?
This one, I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Okay. And if you didn't do it, then did Brendan do it? Or is it just your memory?
It's either of us. We were the only ones using the website to write messages.
Okay. And
So
what
one-
my question is, which one of the two of you, there's only two, which one of you did this one?
I can tell.
You can't tell? Okay. Now, at this point, when this one was written, did Brendan have his laptop, or did you have his laptop? Do you know?
If we what?
At the time that this one was written, which I told you was January 19th, 2023, do you know if Brendan had the laptop or you had the laptop?
Well, we always had her laptop.
Okay, I guess I'm asking about you.
And I'm telling you, I do not recall if it was me or him.
You don't recall?
This one, I don't.
Okay. Do you recall who was on the laptop?
Again, either me or him.
Okay. Do you recall this message?
Again, the messages are all similar. If you scroll through all the messages exchanged, they're all very similar.
Right. But there were certain things that you would write and there were certain things that he would write. You testified that to the ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen of the jury.
Yeah.
Do you see any of the things that you traditionally would write when you were reviewing this?
I normally use some different words than he used to use.
Did you read this?
I wouldn't use I am without the apostrophe, for example. I normally say I'm. I talk different ways sometimes, like, yeah, but I can tell some stuff that I wouldn't say,
Okay.
like dumb, like.
So your position is you just don't know.
I did what?
You just don't know
I don't know what.
whether you did this or not.
Well, I'm supposed to say for sure, right? So
Well,
I'm not
just
gonna,
asking
I'm not gonna
between
guess.
the two of you in the plan,
Yeah.
who did it and who didn't?
You're telling me to be specific with this message. I'm telling you I don't remember which one of us did it. You see, if I can guess, I'm not gonna give you any guesses. I'm gonna just say I'm not sure.
Okay, I guess I don't want to be misunderstood. I'm just trying to find out what you wrote.
Right.
And so what you're telling me is so far you haven't written any of these things.
Objection, that's been asked and answered, and he's also mischaracterizing her answer.
As asked and answered, I'll sustain that objection next.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Can you see that one?
Yes.
This was on January 22nd, 2023. Do you remember that?
It could have been me. It could have been Brendan.
Okay. I appreciate that statement, but are you trying to remember whether or not you wrote this?
You're telling me to be specific if it was me or Brendan, and I'm telling you that I do not recall which one of us. And the reason is because we're always doing this most times together, and the words are very similar, and they're very all familiar. So if I can tell you for sure, I'm not gonna say again, I don't know.
Okay. And do you know who was using the computer?
I'm gonna keep give you the same answer, Mr. Carroll. It's either me or Brendan.
Okay.
Yes.
How about this answer, or this statement that was put on the FetLife website? Have you read it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember it?
Remember what? If it was me, if it was Brendan, if...
Do you remember the message first? And then
Well,
I'll ask you the question.
There was all the type of message, again, exchange the same kind of messages. It's impossible for me not to remember, but it's hard for me to say which one of us wrote those messages.
Okay. It looks like there are some of the things that you told the ladies and gentlemen of the jury that you would oftentimes be part of. Like it says in the second one, gagged. Don't leave marks on my face, I think you may have said. Are those familiar to you based upon those items that you testified to the jury?
It is familiar.
Okay. But you don't know which one, you or Brendan?
We both used those exact same words. It was, all the time.
Okay. How about this one?
What about it?
Do you recognize it?
Sir, with all due respect here, I said those things are all very familiar words we used with all the people we communicated. So if you want me to be specific, again, I might say it's me, or I might say it's Brendan, and if I'm not sure, what am I doing? I'm guessing, and I'm not doing this.
So you're not going to answer my questions about specific pieces of evidence that I'm showing you?
Objection. She answered. Objection asked and answered. Objection argumentative.
I think she says she's not going to do this.
If you want to approach this.
All right, so ongoing testimony in the case involving Brendan Banfield and the au pair who was hired by him and his wife, and Brendan Banfield now charged with aggravated murder in the death of his wife and a man named Joe Ryan. You heard the au pair testifying right there in those live looks into that courtroom about the process that she and Brendan Banfield allegedly underwent in planning the murder of his wife. So again, Brendan Banfield charged with aggravated murder in the midst of that trial right now, and the au pair that was hired by him and his wife testifying at the stand during that clip. Now, that court looks like it has gone to something of a break, so we are going to transition over to a press conference happening in Minnesota. Minnesota, of course, in the news. This particular press conference, what we know is that it's about federal cuts. We do see some T-shirts being worn by some who are in the image. This is more of a zoomed-in camera angle. Before we could see the entire crowd, and there were shirts that said, keep your hands off Medicaid, something to that effect. Medicaid saves lives. Please keep your hands off Medicaid, something like that. So that is some context as we're now going to dive into the press conference and figure out a little bit more about what it is specifically that they are talking about. Let's go live to St. Paul, Minnesota.
It relied on off-topic and out-of-date reports from 2017 to 2021, and those reports aren't relevant to the issues currently facing our program and our state. Additionally, there are no facts to support withholding all funds from the 14 benefits that were named. Even if there is a finding of non-compliance, the withholding must be based on specific findings from a review or audit. You can't just choose a number when you're talking about funding that is essential to many people's health and well-being and could even determine, as folks here said, whether people live or die. Right now, we're waiting for CMS to set a hearing date so we can address these issues. We're confident in our plan to address fraud in Minnesota, and we want to continue to work with CMS to resolve these issues and to serve the people of Minnesota together. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And with that, we'll take questions. And I'll just note that the State Agriculture Secretary, Tom Peterson, and State Budget Director, Anna Mingy, are also here and available if you have questions for them.
Have you had any further conversations with Dr. Oz or anybody today, or have you heard directly from him other than in that video message and other communications?
We did have a meeting with Administrator Oz and senior administrators at CMS today here in Minnesota, yes.
And did anything come of that?
I would characterize the discussion as productive. I think we agree on the overall aim of fighting fraud and enhancing program integrity here in Minnesota and broadly in the Medicaid program. It should be noted, though, that they may characterize the meeting differently. Our experience has been that we have had productive and constructive conversations with CMS officials recently about this issue, and their characterization of the conversation ends up being quite different coming out of it. So you'll have to ask them what their view of the conversation was.
Any indication they were willing to back off on this at all, or are they sticking to their guns?
We didn't discuss the specific disallowance or deferral amounts, that the cuts that they're proposing to our Medicaid program. That the dollar figure was not discussed. Specific elements of the corrective action plan were discussed.
It looks like Deputy Secretary O'Neill was here as well. Same meeting.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
And then I know you kind of talked a little bit about this yesterday, some of the uncertainty about total amount of funds and the timing. But I'm still confused. Does the process of filing an appeal pause their ability to pause the funding for now? Will it continue to grow while the appeal plays out, or could they still halt at any time?
So we submitted a letter of appeal of the decision, and of course, I think it's up to CMS how they will implement this decision. It's not clear to us yet, again, as we discussed, I think, in previous conversations, how exactly this would be implemented or what exactly the dollar amount will be. They suggested the $515 million quarterly figure, but not based on any audits or findings. It's a 25% of billing figure in their estimation for the 14 benefits that we identified as high risk.
How much of this is about fraud? How much of it is about being punitive towards the state of Minnesota?
Well, it certainly, as we said in our appeal letter, feels very punitive to us because this is way outside of the usual process and counter to federal regulation for how these corrective action plans are handled. Again, typically there's an audit, there are findings or a focused review. CMS may do something of that nature. There are findings that then that will inform a corrective action plan. So discrete problems that were found in that audit, the state would craft a draft corrective action plan, negotiate that with CMS, they would agree upon it, and then if the state doesn't make progress toward the milestones in the plan, at that point then CMS would withhold or disallow funds.
And to be clear, the talking about CMS threatening to pull the funds, we are talking about for those 14 programs that DHS has deemed high risk for fraud, and that Dr. Oz laid out in that December letter saying if you don't take these steps to pause provider enrollment in these programs by the end of 2026, we will withhold those funds.
Well, to be clear, the amount was based on a spending figure or a claiming figure of the state for the 14 services. But $2 billion is $2 billion. So $2 billion in federal matching funds comes back to the state, and that's a massive portion of both the state budget and the state Medicaid program spending. So either way, it will have a broad effect on what we're able to deliver in terms of Medicaid services, but also the broader state budget.
So we're talking about two different things here than what they suggested in this letter in December about saying pause all provider enrollment for those 14 programs, or we will, without giving a number, withhold federal funds. You're saying this is something else that they're threatening?
So we submitted in our draft corrective action plan on New Year's Eve some information responsive to those requests. So both the provider enrollment moratorium, which we announced last week, in addition to the provider revalidations. Those things are now both underway. It should be either implemented shortly. The provider enrollment moratorium will take some months to conclude. Our plan is to get that done by the end of May. So those things were agreed to by the state and will be in any draft of the corrective action plan going forward, again, at the request of CMS.
What sort of avenues, I guess, are available if that money is eventually cut, or are you guys preparing in any sort of way that you guys be asking the legislature to take a look? Is it even possible to offset that?
No. I think the short answer is no. $2 billion in a federal cut to the state budget and the Medicaid program is something the state just can't absorb. And the governor does not have authority to just tap the rainy day fund, as has been suggested. So that's not an automatic option. Again, the governor doesn't have that authority. So we don't have good options, and I think we'd have to see how CMS implements a cut to the federal funding and to Medicaid, and the impact it would have to the state budget, and difficult decisions would have to be made.
Is there a reason you didn't discuss the specific amounts with Dr. Oz?
It wasn't really on the agenda today. I think the focus was foremost the corrective action plan, and we have an appeal that's live with CMS, so that's really the forum where the administrative appeal process is where we'll cover that.
Has there been any assessment of which programs are going to be hardest hit by these cuts, or is that kind of an ongoing process?
Well, again, it's hard to say. I mean, $2 billion is going to have a broad, blunt impact across the program into the state budget. But again, there will have to be difficult decisions about how the state would absorb that, should it come to pass.
Could Commissioner Peterson come up for a moment for a question about USDA funding? Commissioner, have you been able to determine yet what programs will be impacted if funds are also cut to your department?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. It's been changing.
All right, so that will bring us to the end of Live Impact News. As you heard, a little bit of a press conference happening in Minnesota right now about federal funding, federal cuts to that funding. All right, a lot of stories covered today. Really, that's been the case all week, especially Tuesday and Wednesday. We have had a lot of different stories to cover, a wide variety of stories to cover, from things here locally in Virginia and so on and so forth. And we will continue to do so tomorrow here on Live Impact News. We really appreciate everybody spending a couple hours here with us. We hope it is enriching for you. We hope it is informative for you. That is our goal, to make your time with us on this platform worthwhile. And we hope that you are able to get something out of this. I know that we are able to get something out of it every single day that we have the privilege to stand here in front of you and conduct this show. But that brings us to the end of Wednesday's version. We'll, of course, be back Thursday, but before we do, we need any last words from the People's Producer, Nia Camp.
How's your service?
Okay. Okay. If you are a Verizon user, you may know that SOS mode is prevalent for Verizon users throughout the country. I am one of those users. My service came back for a brief moment. It is down once again. Check any social media and you will find thousands of others like you. Verizon has been posting on X about how they are trying to fix this problem. So my service is down, Nia Campbell. Your service doing fine?
Doing perfectly fine over here.
Doing perfectly fine. We hope that you have a perfectly fine rest of your Wednesday. See everybody tomorrow.